Hello, welcome to the Dumpling Difference Discussion Show. I'm Holly, Savvy Shopper Delivers, and next to me here is Steve, Rideshare Rodeo, which I'm sure probably most of you know. Steve always has the great news on all of the gig economy. Anything you want to know, ridesharerodeo.com. He's got it all. How you doing today, Steve?
I'm good. I know that we were supposed to have Celeste today. Celeste, where
We
are you?
don't know. We
Where are
don't
you?
know what happened to Celeste.
Celeste, we love you, but where are you? So we don't have Invisible Celeste either. So our show is kind of based on that. So we've been talking for a while about some other stuff like 85 and some other legislative stuff, and um, I don't know. I think this is going to be kind of an off the cuff episode, but that's okay. Maybe it can be more of a I can tell you one thing that let me see if I can find it. In fact, somebody left me a comment about Dumpling, and I had to refer them to this show for this Tuesday because the comment was I can't remember. It was on one of the other things where I just mentioned Dumpling, and somebody's like, "Is there a show or is there a way to learn about the 101 of Dumpling?" Basically, and I was like, "Yeah, there actually is." So, it's
Yeah, I've referred a couple of people just yesterday to episode 7, our favorite episode.
right. Yeah, I'm looking
I
for it.
thought that was a really good one to learn some good basic stuff because we had so many good questions in the chat that day.
So here it is. Her name is God, I'm gonna say this wrong. It's Kira Nikuri. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Um it says do any of this was posted on the Why Dumpling Dominates Instacart for Gig Workers, which was my dumpling roundtable I did way back. You've seen it, Holly. But so anyway, this was out a year ago or whatever, but this is a comment from a day ago. Do any of you have a video sheet you actually talk about how Dumpling works, FAQs, how to get started? I keep coming across basic chats, but they are not very informative. Hopefully, when this premieres, you are watching this, because normally this will be. I don't know if this week will be, but what I recommended to you, and I forgot that we were pre-recording this week, was Celeste, or Invisible Celeste, as we call her today. Um, but I had told this person, hey, come to the Tuesday live chat, or to the Tuesday live, that we do it every other week, and that this week happens to be one. Come to it. So hopefully I'll be in the premiere and hopefully they show up. But I think that one of the next things we need to do when there's no guest is go through a 101, real 101.
Right. Well, and there also is the Dumpling University.
Right. And maybe we could end
They
it
can
with
go
that.
to
Like,
as well.
here's what we view 101, but when you get into it, you got this too.
Right. Right. No, and I think this is great because even if they do go through that, and once they start working their business and they have questions, they can come here and ask the questions. And like he said, we don't normally pre-record. We had to pre-record this week because I'm out of state and could not be available tomorrow to record. I will try to open chat and hopefully can be in the chat as it premieres tomorrow, if I can get signal out where I am. But actually recording was not going to be an option for me.
Yeah. No, and I mean sometimes that happens, but I guess my point is I think a 101 would be good, because I can even say for me, probably was for you too. I don't know, Holly. Maybe we've never even talked about this, but I know that, for me, it took me a while to go actually say, you know what, enough, I'm going to do this. And I was actually already on the platform too, but I just wasn't doing it.
Right.
But I think that like me, I onboard all kinds of apps, and it took me a
Me too.
long time to really pull the trigger with Dumpling. Okay, I'm going to do this. And I know that, usually, here's how I view it. Usually only gig workers who are veterans, who really understand this grind, and I'm not picking on any specific apps, the apps overall, how they work, and like you've done it long enough where you get it. You're multi-apping, that this app sucks, this
Right.
one's not good on week. You're starting to do all this, and all of a sudden you hear about Dumpling. That's when you're going to get interested. If you're like in the gig economy for 2 months and you're still signing up for some basic apps, I'm not telling you don't do it, but Dumpling isn't probably what you're looking for, because most likely you'll
Right.
come on here and be like, why am I not being fed bad paying jobs?
Right.
Where are all the bad offers?
Yeah. This is definitely for somebody who has decided that this way of life is what they want to do. It's good for them. They're self-motivated. I mean, it's definitely not for everybody. If you're not a self-motivated person and you aren't someone who is outgoing enough to talk to people about your business and make your flyers, and don't feel bad about handing them to whatever customer you do come across, that's then
I would
you
even say
might not be for you.
creative. If you're not, and you don't have to be the creative type, but I mean, it seems to me like the most creative people are some of the most, or the people with any level of creation. I'm not saying you need to be able to draw a Picasso or play music like Mozart, but any type of creativity at all in even just the thinking of your marketing, even if it's different than everybody else's, those are the ones I've found to be the most successful dumpling shoppers there are. Don't you agree, Invisible Celeste?
I do.
If Celeste were here, she would agree. And then she would be telling us a story right now about how she took off her business because she's done so well with her business. She
Well, and
has.
you've actually done interviews with her before, so
Yeah.
what has she can you share with us a little bit about what she has said in the past has
So,
done well for her with growing her business?
yeah, I mean, like, my hope is that I don't want to say too much because my hope is that the next episode or whatever, Celeste will be back. She is a tough person to book. And even part of it might have been that it's a Monday in the day. When I've booked Celeste, it's been a very weird window
Right.
that she can work with. And it's not night either. She likes to
Yeah. Well, and
she
I'm
likes to
sure.
get to sleep in time because she like me with Curry she starts at like 5 in the morning. So this is but with Celeste, it's different now. So I can maybe walk through a very basic timeline of hers is that, she started with Dumpling because of Instacart. Basic story.
Right.
Instacart sucks. And this is before the pandemic. She's an old schooler dumpling person who's been through all the changes kind of thing. Um, but she started her store just outside of. Whenever I say she's from Atlantic City, she jumps down my throat. So Invisible Celeste is not from Atlantic City. Real Celeste is. Just kidding. Um, no, but Celeste lives just outside of Atlantic City, but also serves the Atlantic City area. So she's in New Jersey. Um, but she started by same as us, hating Instacart, getting on, realizing, wait, why am I not just doing this myself? Realizing that Dumpling had a platform, and I guess I can go as far as to say to add this in to those who are looking for the 101 level stuff. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I just do it myself? I'm going to have to go to all this trouble. There is a marketplace, and there are tools that are in there, and the university can help you through that stuff. However, the basic part of it is that look, your profile, being able to give that out, and you're like, yeah, but I can make a website. But here's the big thing is that you couldn't do it as cheaply as it's being done through Dumpling on your own, because Dumpling has a bigger um, more power with a bank because of the shoppers they do have to get pretty good rates to us and pass it along to the customers. So the way you can set up your structure is pretty good. But I know that she started off by, I don't know if she poached or if she just was like making some phone calls. And again, this was at a time when the pandemic hadn't hit, so Instacart wasn't as big as it is.
Right.
I know it's hard for people to remember back then, but food delivery and Instacart grocery shopping type stuff before the pandemic really was pretty low key. It wasn't Instacart wasn't everywhere and everybody wasn't using it.
Right.
Like it like the food delivery apps, it took the pandemic to really kick that in, but pre-pandemic, so I think it was a little easier of a sell. Oh, we've seen those Instacart commercials, and people would be like, oh yeah, I think I saw that. So it's not like people who are like, yeah, I've tried that, I hate it, or that's the new norm. It's like
Yeah.
people were like, oh yeah, I've heard of that kind of. That's the era. And so she was pulling people into Dumpling, and she was making Dumpling clients, but then she even like made some like clients in the restaurants and bar industries, and she takes product to them from specific um like vegetable stands or places that they don't have an account with who won't deliver. So
Now,
like
did
so
she
for
go there? Did she just go there and talk to the owners or the
yeah,
manager or whatever and say, hey, this is what I do? You
yep.
know,
And
okay.
it's all like I'm not going to even say it's like 5-star dining, it might be, but it's more like organic type places and things like that. And I know if she were here, she'd back up that comment that yes, because those people are looking for a very specific thing. But the other thing that she did say on the other side of that, it's not as easy as just walking in there. You are going to need to prove to these people that you are able to shop for the type of items and the type of quality they are looking for in those items. So like you can't just, if they say I need 4 eggplants and 4 watermelons from the stand down the road, you can't just go grab 4. You need to come back with good ones. And they're like, oh, your game. So it's going to be a little bit of proof is in the pudding too, if you're going to kind of go that route. I mean, for just doing groceries and landing clients, you don't need that skill set. But if you're going to go above and beyond, Celeste has now turned her business into a business. She went to board meetings for the city, and she did a lot of flyering. She's kind of tried all the avenues, and that's why we wanted her here, was because we wanted to say what worked for her, what didn't, and again, it will be market to market.
She got real involved with the Chamber of Commerce and things in her town.
Yeah, exactly. And so did Suze, who's another guest that we're going to want to have on here too. A great shopper. I've talked to her many times. She's amazing, and she got into it too. She got into City of Commerce too. So it sounds like, and I remember there was another person who did that too. I think on their recommendations. I don't know. Maybe part of being super successful is going down that road. I always wondered, well, what would I do at that meeting? Hey, I deliver food. Like, I just don't know. I mean,
I would imagine that it's probably more like just kind of listening in on what's going on, and then maybe the side conversations that you have with people initially, getting to know other people, other small businesses in the area.
Yeah, I mean, but nonetheless, I mean, that's what she did. She made her business, and she has employees now, like not independent contractors, but employees. So,
wow. See, yeah, that's the
her
one
business
thing.
has truly evolved.
Yeah, shoot, I do hope that, we do get her on here down the road. But, another thing about people that say, well, I can go do this on my own. Again, if you build your own website, getting people to your website, with SEO and all that stuff, that's not as easy as it sounds, because I do have 3 websites. So I know that. But, also the funding of the orders, if you have an order come in, that's a $600 order, and that's not unusual, do you have that in your pocket?
You're paying for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to fund all those orders, and that's something that Dumpling does for you. And that's really one of my biggest things with Dumpling, is the funding of the orders and the customer service, that if I have any problems with the card that they sent me, I'm at the store and something happens, the SOS hours have always been basically anytime there's somebody there. They did just recently put out a new email, and the SOS hours have changed, which I have right here. And now they are available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays, and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Apparently that's when most of the shoppers need the services. And they said if you're going to need something outside of that hours, just kind of have the foresight so you can get that taken care of during the SOS hours. So, and boy, am I glad that I decided to film out here, because I just had a car pull up next to me, and my aunt and cousin just arrived back at our Airbnb. So that was a good call.
So the people in California on Sunday doing Dumpling need to shop before 3 p.m. then.
Yes, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. California time.
So know that, guys, because you don't want to be like, hey, well, it's 4 p.m. I mean, they'll be open.
Yeah, I am a little curious on why they changed that. I do want to,
especially because they're out west. That just is weird.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the stores are open till 10 p.m. usually. I mean, mine are here, at least, on every day. But you probably maybe don't. It's probably more not about the stores being open, but that clients really aren't requesting things on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
That's probably where they got that from. I mean, I'm sure they had good reason for what they did and whatnot.
But yeah, I mean, but I think you're right. The funding of account, or the funding of your account, and then if you, I mean, I have a client who has me stop at 2, 3, and one time 4 places and the funding of 4 accounts. Like I don't know where all the rest of you
Right.
guys are, but I couldn't be funding this kind of stuff.
No.
And not only that, nor would I. Like I'm stoked for a platform like Dumpling because I love the fact that I'm not doing it fast enough. And I talked to Holly about this. Holly agreed that we both need to find times to really just put in a couple hours, because that couple hours really, even if it leads to one client, like even every other week, if you put in 2 hours a week into marketing and trying to scrape up a client, and if you landed one every 2 weeks, you'd be doing pretty damn good.
Right. And I have a lot of, I hand out a lot of flyers and stuff like that. When I'm doing the other apps and I'm doing deliveries, and if I have a customer that I'm vibing with or whatever, I'll mention it to them. And again, and I say this every time that I talk about this on the show, if you are going to talk to somebody, you say you're delivering a DoorDash or on Instacart or whatever other app you're on, and you're going to talk about your business, do not do it in the in-app chat. Make sure that's something that you're talking face to face with, or you're leaving them some information, because you don't want to get yourself possibly deactivated on what other app you're using. And that, even though you're an independent contractor, you know how they are. So they could say, oh, well, if they're going to promote themselves on our platform, we're going to deactivate them. So just be careful when you do that.
Even though you're allowed to.
You are allowed to.
Even their TOS,
oddly
their TOS doesn't even state that you're not allowed to. Yes, you're allowed to because of independent contractor rates, but TOS doesn't even say you can't.
Right.
So, I mean, even their terms of service don't say it, but here's the thing. For any of those of you who are new to the gig economy, if you don't know, you could be deactivated this afternoon and not even be working today.
And they don't have to tell you why.
That's my point. You could be deactivated, and they said, well, you did a delivery today where you had a complaint, and you're like, I'm visiting family, I'm not even at home, that wasn't me. Doesn't matter. Most of the companies are completely AI generated now and run, and AI doesn't understand it wasn't my fault. I think I kind of would compare it to the old analogy of which never really applied, but I know that you'll know this, Holly. The dog ate my homework. Like,
yeah, that's pretty accurate.
It's kind of like that. That's how AI reacts to, hey, why was hey, the dog ate my homework. I don't know.
And there have been some mass deactivations going on with DoorDash, and I don't really understand what's going on with that. And I know a couple of the big people have been deactivated, and I certainly hope they get that worked out and they get back on.
Yeah, no, and I know like Scott Proc, he did.
Yeah.
Or
Mac.
Yeah. So he got back on because
he did get back on.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying he got deactivated.
No.
Back on.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, no, it just happened. Like he again, no email. He had just been opening the app every day. Like, what the heck, man? And he opened it and he said, dude, I'm back on.
Really?
This is like this. And by the way, for those of you that aren't following the story we're talking about, because I had Mac on Para and some other things too, but Mac was deactivated for pretty close to 2 weeks. He didn't get a deactivation email, and he didn't get a reactivation email. He just both times opened the app, you're deactivated. What? 11 days later, open the app. Okay,
but he tried to contact them to find out about that, right? To get back.
Yeah, and all during this time, the AI sorted it out and put him back to active. Again, this is what happens when you let AI loose.
That is crazy.
I don't know what you people, what anybody is expecting from complete 100% AI oversight, because there should be a person who is able to look into the AI. But unfortunately, you guys, that's exactly what AI is. It makes it so that there's no way for the person to look into it. Artificial intelligence is implemented into a system to say, make things run better. And the person who programs it, just to make it easy, programs, okay, here's what all we want you to look at. And we want you to make determinations on who needs to be deactivated and not. And we're going to put you in the system. But if you listen to the name artificial intelligence, it learns from everything it does. And therefore, the minute you launch it into the system, it's now beyond the programmer's realm of understanding. because whoever programmed it only set some parameters, whereas the nature of this is like you're putting an infant in the woods. Most wouldn't live. You're putting an infant in the woods, and then one of them gets raised by wolves and comes out, and that's what you got.
Right. Well, another great thing about Dumpling is you can't get deactivated. It's your business unless you're going to deactivate yourself.
Yep. I mean, if you want to gain, we should say that if you want to gain people from marketplace in your area, you do need to do one every 30 days.
Yes.
However, you can't be deactivated. You set your prices. You set everything. You can decide if you want to pay the small percentage of processing that your customer has. I mean, I don't know. I've changed my rates around a lot. I haven't in a while now, but I've changed them around a lot playing with them. I had them high, then I brought them lower, then suggested tip. I've done so many different things that you guys can do your own trials and tribulations. I would really suggest to anybody starting Dumpling to write it out a couple different ways on paper, or however you see best, on spreadsheets, whatever.
Well,
And
you
then
can
just,
also go in. They've got that calculator in there, so you can put in different numbers and kind of see where you're at. But I don't think really until you start working it in your market and see what the business is like in your market, that you really kind of know where to set your prices, because
yeah.
it's going to be different. Customers are going to tip different in every area. So,
But I'm starting to see what Ashley said about don't go over the 25%. And Ashley, just so the people know, Ashley's kind of a main, she's a key figure over at Dumpling. We'll just say that. But she, she said don't go over 25% in the combined grocery total and tips that you're asking for. And I used to be over that a little bit. And it even warns you in the app. It's not a warning, but it says, hey, you're over this. And okay, yeah, I am. I want more money than that.
but it depends. I think it just.
But I've
You
now
don't know what
stuck to
somebody's going to tip.
15% and 10% suggested tip, and I usually make way more than that. So.
Oh, okay. So it's the suggested tip that you're saying plays into that 25. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was going to say, we don't know what they're, we can suggest whatever we want.
No, but I have suggested, or I have 15% of grocery total. That isn't suggested. That is what it is to the customer. And then I have a suggested 10% tip. They can change it to 0 or 5% or a custom amount. All my customers usually tip me 20, 25%, but then most of them put a tip in after the fact too.
I don't get many after the fact, really, but I think maybe
I do I figured it out. I do if I bring their groceries in. Because there's 2 clients I have that I bring the groceries in to the house, into the kitchen.
Right.
Because they don't want their food like wolves. They don't want me to just throw it in the mud outside like Instacart. They actually said, no. We eat that. If you could not throw that in the dirt, that'd be great.
Stop it. Yeah. Well, I'm always willing to do that. I mean, I'm willing to do whatever they want me to do. That's the great thing about, this is my business and I'm not Instacart. You can ask me to do that. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, I know. Go ahead.
We should do a Saturday morning Dumpling, order your breakfast through us for GigCon, and then we'll just upcharge the crap out of all of them. It's $100 tip on everything, by the way, guys.
Right, 100% tip. Yeah, I had my pricing at 20% of grocery total, and I have 15% suggested tip, and then I just lowered it to 15% of the groceries. But I also had initially I had a $20 minimum on there, and now since I went down to 15%, I raised my minimum to $25 minimum. That way I was covered on my small orders, but then my large orders weren't paying quite as much as they were, because they were really paying me too much, to be honest. And so I felt like it was too much. So that's why I lowered it.
Yeah.
And Celeste, now I looked at her pricing, and she charges more. She charges, I can't remember now exactly what it was. Dang it. I wish I would have written that down.
But isn't that the nature of the beast though? I mean, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, to be honest, once this is a concept that might be some hard for some people to understand, but once you're doing more business, you need to charge more. You
Right,
just
'cause
do.
you're more in demand too, so it does make sense
Yeah,
to
more
me.
of your time is
I get
going
it.
to it, more of your effort, more of even your off hours is going to running the business. So of course prices for the
Right,
business crank up. I'm not saying she's a corporation and she's all of a sudden Uber, we need to hate Celeste. Not at all. It's just what happens when something grows.
right. And I wonder, I'd be interested like how she pays her people, have it. And why does anybody come to her or to anybody and work as an employee in a company like that instead of starting their own? You know what I mean? It's like, why would you want to come work for me with my business instead of go to Dumpling and start your own?
Because maybe they're part-time and she lets them flex work with W2 perks or something. I don't know. Invisible Celeste, anything to say?
We have so many questions. Yeah, no, I mean, anybody, I don't know. Who else on Dumpling has employees? Do you know other people that do? I know there are other people. I just
Yeah,
don't
there
know.
are. I don't know.
Okay. We can find out from Joel and maybe try and reach out to some of those too, because I'd like to have more than one person's input on it anyway. But
I mean, my guess is the same. My guess is flex though. Really, what it would come down to. Like, well, you know me. I got 3 kids. I gotta be
yeah,
here. Gotta be here. And they almost like the person could show you. Look at my hell week. There's no way to have a job. And Celeste's like, I could work with that. Like, if you could
yeah.
work here, here,
Or they
and
don't have the
here.
time. They don't on the marketing and stuff like that. They don't want to go spend that time to build up their own
Yeah.
thing. They just want to make a little money. Yeah, because I've had a couple people ask me. They've seen my magnets that I have on the side of my car, and they're like, "Hey, are you hiring?" No,
I
but you can
mean, it
start
might
your
not.
own.
It's not for me, but there is a program with Dumpling where they give you 5 cards. There's a reason for that.
Right.
The reason it's not that you lose a card a day. It's it's that you have 4 other people shopping for you.
Yeah. Well, and the price that you pay to Dumpling is, significantly more on that program versus the program that, you and I do. And there's a reason for that
Yeah, but
too,
if you
because those people are
but
making a lot more
if
money.
I had enough clients to have 4 people
Well,
working for me,
yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that cost.
That's what I'm saying, because they can afford that because they're making a lot of money because they've got that many clients. So yeah, exactly.
I mean, even on the basic plan, you get 2 cards though.
Right.
So I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, you do have that extra card to let somebody else. Like, if you're ever like, hey man, this guy does gig work and he's been struggling and I know him well and stuff. If you ever want to like go, hey man, if you want to help me build this, it's almost like you guys, as long, but I would recommend this. If you 2 gig workers are going to get together to do a dumpling, even if it's something basic on LegalZoom or something, draw up a document between you.
Yeah. Well, and there's some teams that are husband and wife teams.
Right. But I'm saying, like, if 2
So
guys or 2 girls who do Instacart are just done with it, they have channels, they think, wow, I could really pull some things in my neighborhood, in my market, and you could too. And if they wanted to go into a dumpling together, I would think, hey, go for it. Just make sure that you make a legal, I don't care if it's 1 page, just have a legal document that you guys sign that's,
right.
that you each own half, or however however it's going to work, some kind of terms of operations.
Right. Because I guess if you went into it with somebody else, you could be like, okay, yeah, because Monday, Wednesday, Friday is really good for me, but Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday might be good for the other one. You could split the time half and half. So the clients that come in on these days are yours, these days are mine. That
Right.
would be a good way to do it, actually. I never really thought.
I mean, like,
But
Tony and I tossed that around is why.
oh, you did?
Well, because I said, dude, if you can get clients down there, I'm not coming down to where you are to shop for people.
Yeah,
But
that's
if
true.
you could get shopping clients down there, you can have this other card, and you or Lisa can do it whenever you want. And then, I mean, at that point, if they just wanted to do it like an app, I could just pay them by job.
Right. That's true. Because if you don't know this,
Almost like, I'd almost let them just do it, is because again, be careful, people, because I know these Tony and Lisa, when I'm talking about them, they're the driven dad, driven mom, and they do amazing gig work. So I know that I trust them to do a good job. I wouldn't just let anybody go out with my extra card and screw things up for my rating or whatever. But I would probably be willing to let Tony and Lisa run with the other card, and anything they make, they can have, even as long as they help me pay half of the platform. And yeah, you can keep it because it gets me more reviews. Hopefully get some more steam building for both the Parker and me in the North Denver side.
Right. And for those of you that don't know, it's $29 a month is what you pay Dumpling. And there's some people that balk at that, but I'm telling you, it's nothing. And the amount of, because you pay less on your credit card percentage fees and stuff like that. And it's what they do for you. That $29 is nothing. Nothing.
Right. And $29, that's like what, a cup of Starbucks these days?
Yeah. I'm just such a control freak, and I never think anybody can do anything as good as I can when it comes to certain things. And so like I can't hand anything over to anybody like that.
Right.
So I'm better off on my own, because I'm like, are you gonna use insulated bags? Are you gonna have your ice packs? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that? You're gonna get your meat last? Are you gonna
Yep.
The only person I would let do something is my daughter. And I actually did ask her to do something for me because I had someone coming in from out of state the day after I was leaving for Illinois. And I knew it was going to be a really good order because it was one of my resort ones, where I was going to go and put everything in the condo for them and have it set up. And so they open their door and it's ready for them. And she had previously worked at a not Airbnb, but a vacation rental company. And so she had done some of that for them. So I knew that, she knows how to shop it. She knows how to go in there and set it up to look nice and all that. So I tried to get her to take it, but she already had plans that day and couldn't do it for me. But so that was a bummer. I had to tell them no.
So next Tuesday is the 4th of July.
Oh, it is.
So happy 4th of July, everybody. And the Tuesday after that, the 11th, we'll be back live. Hopefully with Invisible Celeste not being invisible and not muted Invisible Celeste, but in person speaking Celeste will be here. If not, we'll have somebody else, or we won't. But if we don't, whenever we don't have a guest, maybe it's best to say this. I mean, that's the best time to come in, you guys, even anytime, but to come in and have tons of questions, like this one that reached out to me and whatnot. If you come in, just the basic stuff, and just Holly and I in here especially, just go to town. We're still even figuring things out. And we ask the company, we do things. And so, I don't know. I think with that said, we're a short episode this week.
We are a short episode this week. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, if there's something in particular you want us to cover, please leave that in the comments, not necessarily in the chat, because I may not see that in the chat, but please leave it in the comments. That way, we can see it. We'll talk about it. We'll get it on here. Anything at all you guys want us to cover, any questions you have, that would be really helpful.
I agree.
You got anything else that you need to cover? And we're sorry for a short episode this week, but we just is what it is this week. Sorry.
No, it's summertime. I mean, I've seen other people not even showing up for their lives and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I mean, at least we stick to it. I mean, we made our time slot, and I think we'll be back. And hopefully I will have put in a couple hours here somewhere towards something Dumpling. I would like to have one new client by next time. It's been a minute since I've had a new client.
Well, since we're going to skip 4th of July and we won't be back until the 11th, let's try and do something just spectacular that we can come back and wow everybody with.
All right. So yeah, so Holly and I will both have a new client when we come back.
Okay. All right. Thanks for being here, guys.
We hope.
We'll see you on the 11th. Bye.